Thank you, Hans. Good to see you again.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, thanks. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity, since you do have a large audience around the world, in Mexico and Germany and Canada, United States, and the UK, to wish all your listeners and viewers the very best for this coming year. It's going to be a year of resolutions as well as revolutions, I believe. I think there are many significant things that happened in 2013 which shook the world up and make us wake up to the realities of the modern world. One of them is that we no longer have the right to privacy as citizens.
Yeah.
Corporations do, not citizens, unfortunately. The NSA has been listening in on conversations, all digital conversations, whether on the internet, cell phone, or what have you. And thanks to some whistleblowers like Mr. Snowden, we know all about this. It is unfortunate that it is always towards the common man that this is directed. And corporations are beginning to wake up right now, and hopefully enough of them will approach the governments, because corporate secrets, trade secrets, are very important to keep. And I doubt that corporations trust the government enough to keep those secrets safe or not to abuse them. So not only is the United States listening in electronically to all citizens in its country, but in Canada as well, and the rest of the world. So that is one major thing that happened in 2013. Thankfully, enough people are complaining right now about this, that hopefully this will be addressed. So I don't want to bury privacy once and for all. I love my privacy. I'm sure that everybody else does. And I'm sure that even members of Congress appreciate their privacy, as well as the elite in the military like their privacy as well. 2014 is going to be a year of a possible war, according to Gerald Celente, who is the head of Trends Research International, based out of, I think he's out of New York, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully this will not happen. If we complain enough, it will not happen. It's going to be a year of protests in Europe. It has started already, because people are very upset at the austerity measures that were implemented a few years ago, continue now, and will be augmented in order for banks and governments to be protected. So that is going to be another trend. My main priority is, number one, peace in the world, and secondly, that governments start listening to us regarding the quality of the air we breathe, water we drink, and the food that we eat. I'm referring to, of course, as everybody knows, to chemtrails in the air and fluoridation in the water, as well as some other chemicals, and in the food, the genetically modified food, and also even in pharmaceuticals. Hopefully, mandatory vaccinations will not take place because of this rumor going in the United States, started by the media, that there is a swine flu epidemic, and H1N1 vaccinations are in order. And also another thing that is happening, starting in the United States, but it will spread out to all G20 countries, are the routine roadblocks for DNA sample taking by the police. That is not necessary. It's unconstitutional. So, and it's a further infringement on our privacy. We are not criminals. We do not live in prison. As a matter of fact, it's something they don't even ask of prisoners. And I know that for a fact. I used to be a corrections officer in my younger days, many, many years ago. A lot of these inmates have more rights than the general population, especially in the United States. So I hope other people can hear your show today, and it would be nice if some people would call in to talk about, whatever resolutions they're taking, and for this year. And mine are simply two. I want to be more focused, and I want to have a higher degree of energy for both my work and my social causes. I have enough for my personal life, but my social causes and the work that I do, I would like to have, I'm referring to my day job, of course, more energy and focus.
Yeah.
I would like to mention a Mass Action Demand. One of my Facebook groups has about 5,000 members now. It is growing rapidly recently. So more and more people are waking up to the reality of chemtrails and geoengineering taking place right now. And I'm happy to also mention that we were recently, not recently, a few months ago, attacked very much by some, I call them disinformation agents, and they call themselves critical thinkers, who were trying to distract us in our groups and trying to dilute our effort and make us lose our focus. Well, that has not happened. These people are no longer in our group, and our group is progressing along well. I don't know what we have in store for 2014, but chemtrails and geoengineering must stop. And so I'm very grateful to all the people who have joined in the Mass Action Demand, and those who have maintained, stayed with us for several years. I think I started back in 2009, so that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the highlights of this year regarding the geoengineering struggle was on the Stephen Colbert show, where he invited Dr. David Keith from Harvard University. He's a climate scientist, but he's actually working for, he's up in Calgary, University of Calgary, working in the the energy department. Now, he admitted in that show, anybody who watched the YouTube version of it, it's still available on YouTube, it's being censored. But anyways, the main point of it is that David Keith said that, yes, they would be injecting pollution in the air, okay? Harmful chemicals in the air. But he said it's only slight, only 1% in addition to the pollution that we are already creating, already killing millions of people every year. So he did admit on national TV, on the Stephen Colbert show, that this is a toxic element which will contribute to more deaths. But he says it's necessary in his opinion. I don't believe that. There are pros and cons, mostly cons, for geoengineering or controlling the thermostat of the global climate. Essentially, the pros say it's cheap and easy. That's relatively cheap and easy, but you'd have to implement a global tax system, because it would be global spraying operations. So it would introduce global taxations, which of course would legitimize the global New World Order. And they say that it would lessen the impacts of global warming, which is itself even not proven yet. And global warming, they call it climate change now. They don't call it global warming anymore, because those ships that they sent to the Antarctic to study the rise of the oceans, ocean levels due to global warming, melting of the ice, got caught in the ice. So much for that theory. And the points against would be it would have a lot of unpredictable side effects to the health of all living things, including humans, and it would muck up global rainfall patterns. It is a weather modification tool. It is also an exotic military tool. There are documents online to show that the military, especially the U.S. and U.K. military, want to control the weather by the year 2025. I think they've done it already, but now they're starting to show it. I just wanted to be focused on one thing. People no longer trust politicians, no longer trust different parties, no longer trust the media, no longer trust the big pharmaceutical companies, and as a matter of fact, they don't even trust organized religion anymore, because people have now evolved. They can think. Even though the media criticizes and chastises people who are critical thinkers as conspiracy theorists, they're actually conspiracy realists. And they are, they know what is really happening. The media and politicians have always worked in hand with also with religion, big business. Tobacco industry for the longest time said, even the government and the media is perfectly safe to smoke and this and that. I respect the rights of smokers, but we do have to call, facts are facts. Smoking is harmful for you. So right now, the government should not tell us what to focus on. That is why they're clamping down on the internet, on freedom of speech and freedom of sharing and expressing ourselves. The whistleblowers like Snowden woke us up. The government is so desperate now because the media is losing its power. What I mean by this is that a lot of newspaper companies, local TV channels, news stations are dying, are going bankrupt, are closing, are being bought by more global media. As a matter of fact, the small local newspaper, community newspapers, which are more numerous than the regular mainstream newspapers in Canada, are being bought one by one, 10 by 10, 100 by 100 by the mainstream media. Why do they care about the revenue? Maybe a little bit. They want to control what we think and what we should be focusing on. Well, I'm sorry, government, and I'm sorry, priests and Pope, and I'm sorry, big business. I know what to focus on, and it's very simple. Clean air, clean water, clean food, and clean government, okay? Government officials are public servants. They should answer our concerns. They are not. They are answering the concerns of big business because corruption continues throughout the centuries, even now. People know about it, they talk about it, and now we are losing faith. The media is not working. The companies are not advertising as much in newspapers anymore. It's more difficult for them to get newspaper subscriptions door to door because people just don't see the value in reading news items where the journalist or reporter is telling us what to think about a certain event, and they are even selecting the events that they want us to focus on. So they don't represent. They are a business. They're in the business of making profit, and unfortunately, it's not for the common person. I just hope one day enough of us pay advertising space to advertise the truth in newspapers, or come up with something creative like this. Somebody suggested to me from near Toronto last week that before we put our Christmas lights away, we should use them on rooftops and in front of houses to write words about whatever favorite cause that we have, and so that people from a distance, either the pilots from the air could see it on the roofs, or the people way down the street can see what is important to us: clean air, clean water, whatever it happens to be. So now the ball's in your court. Before I forget, sorry, I have to take my allergy pills.
Don't worry.
Never had allergies before. First thing, Jack is trying to reach you. He would like to call in the show, and he has a few words to say. Excuse me. I don't know how you
Bless
connect him
you.
in, but Jack would like to.
Okay.
And secondly, before you connect him in, I'd like to mention one thing very important.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Snowdens in the world. I know one of them. I've invited him to come on your show. Hopefully he'll get my message now. His wife and 3 of his relatives died within the same month. They were killed. They were, the death certificate was signed by the same doctor for some strange reason. Because this man is a whistleblower, especially about chemtrails, geoengineering, and HARP and their connection together. Okay? This man, I talked to him twice online. He has a lot of information to reveal. He knows that what he said is risky. He lost everything, essentially. Those he cared about, and more. I think he's riding around with an electric bike, you know. That's all he's got left. But and he loves the truth. So I can't say his name right now. I'll tell you his initials. They're BH. BH. And so if he accepts the come, he will be a very, very. He's another Snowden. I won't say which country he lives in. I'll let him give you all the details.
Okay.
On that. A lot of people don't talk about the truth because they realize that whistleblowers are not considered heroes to governments. They are the enemies of governments, but they are the heroes of the people. The Snowdens of the world, the people love them. They should be, Time Man of the Year, but they're not. As soon as he comes back in the United States, he will spend 30 years in jail for the heroic things that he's done. So that's why a lot of people don't talk about the truths that they do know. All I have to say to these people is, you got to live with your own conscience. I know there are risks. There are risks to even taking your car to go to work, and there are also major risks not to do something. So my recommendation is that if you know enough and you want to say something, start with baby steps. Start with safe things, and keep on increasing until you reach your comfort level. And other people will do the same thing. You know, like I say, something simple, safe, sound, but surefire. Eventually, if enough people climb up and dare, we'll all be at a different level in life. We need these people. We have to trust each other if our governments won't listen to us. So I think that a couple of people want to talk to you now, but if you can connect Jack, it would be nice.
Okay, I see him already here in the chat box. Let me see if he can pick up here. I'm calling him. Okay. Yep, he's there. Okay. Okay. Hi, Jack. Hello, hello. Yeah, I see you. Okay. Hello, can you see us?
I see Jack, but I can't hear him.
I see you. It's because I haven't said a word till now, that's why.
Okay. Good. How are you, Jack? Jack.
Go ahead, Jack. The floor is yours.
Yeah, good. Hi, guys. So you picked up on my little... Yeah, I can see you. I can hear you.
Great. Tell us what you think about chemtrails and what should we do in 2014 that we haven't done yet.
Oh, I'm good, thanks. Yeah. Okay, I keep having pauses in in hearing the audio. Anyways, I'm glad you touched the idea about putting lights or Christmas lights in backyard grasses or lawns or rooftops. I think that's a great idea. I think if people all around the world would just put up Christmas lights on their lawns, all within 10 miles of every airport on Earth, I think that'll say a lot. And it'll put a big dent maybe. One of the things that I was noticing here in Ontario is that today was the first time I've seen a plane coming out of Toronto heading south between 10 to 15,000 feet with a long trail behind it. That's the first time I've seen anything come out of Toronto Pearson with a trail on it. And so now I am accusing Toronto Pearson of supplying sprayers.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a pretty darn good year, I think, especially as far as Monsanto goes.
Yeah. They got banned in Mexico.
They've been banned all over.
Mm-hmm.
And General Mills is going to consider taking GMOs out of their Cheerios. I mean, these are breakthroughs. These are good, big breakthroughs. And then then Sylvain and I have been discussing some sort of a lawsuit or a class action suit on chemtrails and GMO engineering, or geoengineering. What I've discovered is there's actually quite a few of them already going on. There's one in Canada already, one in France, and one in the UK. Yeah. I don't know how successful they're being or how much, maybe we need to get together with those class action suits, like bring all of them together.
Sylvain is still there?
Have you seen those, Sylvain? Those class action suits?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay.
I posted some on Mass Action Demand there, showing you. There is some going on.
It's a good idea, and if ever it does go to court, I believe that we have a strong chance of winning. However, it's going to be a very, very difficult and long battle in court because of corruption, even in the justice system.
A long battle is what I see, and that's what I don't like about it. Perhaps it could be 10 years, and that's just too long, for my. I mean, there's got to be a faster process of getting something done with this. But I kind of like what Max Bliss is. Have you seen what Max Bliss has been doing too? He goes to the police station and he tries to put in a complaint because I want to put in a complaint. Somebody's trying to poison me.
That's great. I like that.
Well, why not? Just go to the police station and say someone's trying to poison me and tell the cops. It's their job to do the detective work and find out if it, So get the cops on it. So they'll start locking us up. I know they will.
I think the whole political system needs an enema repassed. I think that before we start fighting, we have to fight on a different battleground, a fair one.
An enema. I thought you were against violence.
Well, actually, enemas feel good after it's over, so it's it's not violent. It's not comfortable at the beginning, but it's worthwhile.
I can't see him laying down and taking it, though. You're probably going to have to restrain him.
Well, we need some fresh blood. We need some fresh energy in this. We need some, I don't know, mixture of adrenaline with testosterone and coffee, espresso.
And beer.
And beer.
And marijuana. Rather large menu we're creating here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Judging by the number of the greater number of people who joined the mass action demand for chemtrails in the last few weeks, I'm seeing that there's an acceleration of willingness, eagerness to stop this problem.
It's incredible how many people have been joining that site. Just, you've got to be, 10, 20 a day. And so I think, a lot of people still waking up. But like we were discussing the other day, we almost have to, we've been the wake up committee. We've been the wake up committee for too long, and we kind of got to move on. Let some of these people that woke up after us be the wake up committee. You make breakfast and coffee for these people and explain this to them. Well, but we kind of got to move on and get some real stuff done. It's kind of bottom line on it.
Now,
we can't stay in the kitchen this long.
No, and we'll get old one day too, and somebody has to take over our spot and continue the struggle, because it may take hopefully it won't take another generation. Hopefully we'll be smart and strong enough to stop it. But one of the champions of our cause, I won't mention his name because he was introduced to me by you, and you know who I'm talking about, this person who has suffered personally from this fight, and I'd like him to be on Hans's show, because this guy is another Snowden. I didn't say which country he's from, I didn't say his name, but it is so sad.
Right now, if you want.
Can you connect him, because you know this guy, and and I don't want to, just if you invite him, please. The world will benefit from this man's story. Heartbreaking and encouraging at the same time.
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen. Or how's the world out there for you guys? Okay, well, I guess I can introduce myself. My name's Billy Hayes, sometimes referred to as a heart man, because I assisted in the construction of most of the heart sites around the world. I'm centered in the middle of the United States in a pile of manure called Kansas. I call it pile of manure because that's all that's here in my part of the country. But if there's some questions I can help you guys with on either HARP or chemtrails, just let me know.
Well, a lot of people, I have a group called Mass Action Demand. I don't think you're in it, Bill, but we're trying to fight chemtrails and geoengineering for several years now, and we've achieved some major milestones. However, what is recurring when we discuss the question of why are they doing this, and your name comes to mind because HARP is one of the main reasons why.
Billy, did you see what Rogan did to Roseanne Barr? Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, jeez, I'll have to see that. It's he just slammed her and told her that there's no such thing as chemtrails. He was on a radio show with her.
When was this? Go ahead and give me the link on that. Okay. Evidently, we lost Silly there. He dropped out on us, I think. But I guess it's up to us to fill in until Sil gets back. Let me make this statement. Chemical aerosol spraying has been going on for many years, since actually since the 60s, the mid 60s. After Agent Orange, RF burns all over my body from working on HARP, and they backfilled with Morgellon cells, and it causes me to have seizures every time HARP comes up. Well, the good thing, people, is HARP has been down since May 18th. And since May 18th, I've only had 3 feasible seizures, so I'm in a healing process. But at the same token, there are other frequencies that now function in the same realm of the old HARP frequencies that when I'm near them, they cause minute seizures. Nothing like HARP. HARP, I could not get away from it. I was having seizures. It didn't matter whether I was 200 feet underneath the ground. It didn't matter if I was on the other side of the world. HARP, every time HARP came up on its specific frequencies, I would have seizures in reference to the length of the pulses. So, needless to say, I'm kind of glad to see HARP down for a while. What we need to talk about is the new HARP, because although we're being told that HARP is down because of financial stress on our government, HARP was not funded by our government. It is funded through DARPA and British Aerospace. And they have changed the format of what was HARP. HARP was an experiment. Now we're into utilizing the tools, I shouldn't say we, they are into utilizing the tools of experimentation that HARP has processed. And that is the new digital, dual-phased radar systems, digital data that is pertaining to information that is within the cellular systems and on the internet. Basically speaking, everything that is digital is able to coordinate with everything that is digital.
Yeah. Is there a connection between HARP and chemtrails?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Nanoparticles. They're turning us into robots. They're turning us into a controllable entities, like the Borg.
The function of what's in chemtrails could not function without the assistance of HARP. Contrary, without chemtrails, HARP could not function as HARP. It takes they are assisting tools with each other. There are other tools that are amended into this realm of experimentation, and that is things such as wind farms, which create a like a big battery to function with the electronic end of chemtrails and with the electronic end of HARP. HARP works on the same ideal that of an electron tube. You have to have all the components of an electron tube. That's a grid, a plate, a cathode, a power supply, and an input, and a medium of a vacuum to put it in. Our atmosphere, the higher you get in our atmosphere, becomes a vacuum. Therefore, you have the contingency to make that of what's in a vacuum tube active within our atmosphere. The chemtrails supply a medium of producing grids, a controlling factor in a vacuum tube. This can act as, number one, an amplifier. Number two, as a massive switch. Number three, chemtrails have the capability of working on the digital entity of the digital world, because within all this cheming and all these chemicals are ID codes that are in some of the nanoparticles. Each one of these nanoparticles has a very small, minute digital reference.
Billy, do you know what is mind control? Because I also think that they can use that technology for messing with our brains. What do you think about that, Billy?
Absolutely. The experimentation was there. I can't tell you what the results were, but I can tell you that they were experimenting with that factor. When we talk about HARP, we're talking about the experimentation of HARP. And what I've been trying to explain is that's no longer HARP anymore. The experiments are done. Now they have the tools and the facts and the information that they have gained out of all this experimentation to do things with. And that's where we're starting to get into some problematic situations is we don't know what they can do with HARP. We've seen what they were trying to do, but now the question is, as they have switched out the analog age into the digital age, that HARP was the leader of all this digital commotion. If you think about it, HARP started coming out online the same time that all of a sudden there was digital TV. And if you remember right, we didn't have no choice. It was, you're going to have to get this converter if you want to watch your TV any longer. And then it came to the point by January 1st of 2 years ago, you will not be able to buy an analog TV anymore. Everything will be digital.
Yeah.
All your phone service. All this was in preparation of utilizing the future of what the next portion of HARP is. And that includes their experimentations on mind control or mind suggestion. Everybody needs to understand that digital information is nothing more than a multitude of yes or no switches being turned on and off. 1 or 0, yes or no. And that is the digital age. All process of everything is on your computer, everything you do on your cell phone, everything that is in reference to listening to a digital radio system and telephone systems is now digital. And it's nothing more than ones and zeros.
Yeah.
Your mind works on the same principles.
Yeah. Yeah.
All communications now work on digitized links.
So we've virtually been turned into robots.
But yes, the idea of mind control through the experimentation of HARP was always there. With you talking on the internet right now.
Yeah, that's digital.
You are part of that digital world already.
Yeah.
Right there in Mexico City. It's there. Just because not everybody's TV has it yet, doesn't mean it's not there. The digital world starts with cellular communications.
Yeah.
And it has spread out from there. And the intercommunication, all digital components, all converse with each other through application. When you get a cell phone, in order for you to dial out on that cell phone to their repeaters, you have to have a digital application in that phone, in that communication wire, that talks to the other one to tell it, this is me, this is what I'm getting ready to say.
Yep.
Well, your body, even your chromosomes, are made up of the same type digital wire. That little spiral of DNA, those little bars in there that make up that spiral of DNA are nothing more than digital codes. So that is an application. DNA is a digital application.
Yeah, we're living in a digital world here, yeah. And do you think also those new towers, you can see them everywhere? New towers, like they call them cell phone towers, but do you think it's just for cell phone, or do they transmit?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Every cell phone tower is interconnecting with other cell phone towers. Not only are those units transmitting voice information, but all information. This is a process of coverage. Even our satellite systems work on the same process. Cell phone towers are capable of being maintained and monitored by all digitized satellites. We live in a digital world where intercommunications is one unit. Even these smart meters have a digital application.
Yep.
And it's just a matter of giving that unit an application to talk to another unit. Your computer can talk to your cell phone. Your cell phone can talk to your computer with a proper application.
And what do you think? Where is the central? I mean, where are the offices or the places where they make all this? I mean, the mind control, for example, they should have a. I don't know. I guess they are in a bunker or in buildings, but people don't know where. I mean, we have to stop them. Do you have any idea?
Living inside of a mountain somewhere. That's what it is.
Well, let's put it this way. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Somewhere there's a guy sitting behind a curtain saying, "Oh, don't look at me. I'm not even here." You know, the whole ideal of
Maurice Strong.
the whole ideal of this digitized world is to have one point that controls all. One point of communication that controls all points of communications. And guess what? That is really what Edward Snowden is trying to tell us. It isn't just telephone messages that they've been watching. It's everything that's digital. If you got on a telephone, you have been talking on a digital controlled line. It is, once it's digitized, it is a matter of a record, a digitized record. It don't even come to the other person first. You send out a message. It doesn't go to that other person first. It goes through a routing of going through everything else. And that routing is controlled by one perspective. Same thing on the internet. When you get on the internet, you try to send a message out, you are interconnecting all over the world. It doesn't just go to the person you're trying to talk to. It goes all over the world. So it is a matter that address that you're talking from and everything that you have put on that information is already downloaded and recorded somewhere.
Oh.
And that's every digitized component in this world, because they all interlink and they all pass information to each other via applications. When you download a phone to put in a ringtone, you will find that everything in that download is not all associated with what you're putting in the phone as a ringtone. It has thousands and thousands of extra components in there of application, which includes whatever the NSA wants in there. Somewhere in this world, there is one person that's got the key to everything.
Terrible. And what is the propose to have the control over the people, or to make business because they're spying what you're consuming? What is the propose of all that technology and mind control?
If you control communications, you control finances. If you control communications, you control everything: the oil, the finances, businesses, the people, communications, your suggestive means of communications. It's all there. if you have control of everybody's monies and finances, you have more or less control of the world.
Yeah.
Unless you got a hibiscus like the Chinese, you know, they're kind of staying out of it.
Horrible. And what is the best way to escape of this? I mean, is it enough, for example, to don't
Tinfoil hats.
The only way to escape it is find an island that has no electronics. Period.
Yeah. Yeah, having electronics, you're controlled. Yeah.
If you use electronics, you have adaptation to that electronics. If it can communicate to you, then it's talking to you.
But there's also, I don't know how much you know about mind control, but there's also the voice to skull thing, that people hearing voices, but they don't have any devices maybe. They're just, for example, walking outside and they're hearing voices. How is that possible, that you hear voices without having any cell phone or, I don't know, any electric devices close to you?
Like I was trying to explain, this harp in the beginning was creating such a massive amplifier that it not only amplified signals, but as it was amplified, it would amplify other frequencies, including voice frequencies, noise frequencies of cities. It was possible to be in Russia and hear someone out on the African deserts, noises that were there, or vice versa. It creates like a tunneling effect.
It's like skip, ham radio skip.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Exactly. The area that was being assisted by HARP becomes so massive because when they were experimenting, they had no idea what they were playing with. That was the ideal. It was an experiment.
Well, and it bounces. It bounces off. So
and it ricochets. And you know, they were trying to do one thing with just a small portion of the ionosphere, and they wind up opening up many portions of the atmosphere, turn it into a large reflecting disk. And depending on the wavelengths of how far away it was and how long the pulses were of HARP, this massive HARP that they were using, gave conclusion of what frequencies would be passed within that window. So it's very capable of someone out yelling at their husband out in the back porch in Miami, Florida, could have been wound up being heard in somewhere in Alaska. Because that was a frequency. Your voice was a frequency. And those frequencies could be picked up as electromagnetic pulses and amplified. You know, I've been talking about past HARP. I worry about what the future is in this so-called matrix system. Because not only are we talking in the future of being at mind control, but able to manipulate our chromosomes. You know, the higher they get into these frequencies, which they're trying to break now, they're trying to go beyond the tetra frequencies, the tetra wavelengths. The higher the frequency goes, the smaller the wavelengths. When you get down to wavelengths that are introducible to change DNA and components of the cell, of all structures, then you're in a new world. They will be able to devise, manipulate individual components of all electronics, of all minds, of all DNA, of all life matter. And that's a scary thought.
Of course.
Okay, great. No, I'm happy that that our new guest has accepted to. Hans's new guest has accepted to talk with us. I wasn't able to hear what was said before because I'm in transit right now. I'm actually at work. So, but I want to say that we will eventually win by the sheer number, by the sheer determination of people wanting to know the truth, and especially since new blood is coming in, we have creative new ways to, I call it a megaphone, to amplify our voice, because the government is listening to us with earmuffs on right now, and watching us with a blindfold. They don't hear us, they don't see us, and they don't care about us, but they soon will, because the noise and the
we're going to kick them in the ass, that's why.
Yeah. We're going to...
they won't even see us coming.
I don't... you know me, I'm totally against violence, and I hope it will not come to our countries. But let's make our voice loud enough so that even they will hear us with earmuffs on, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I hope the scientists will discover a vaccine against corruption in government and religion, and
Mm-hmm.
Well, our scientists have been silenced. Like, what's with that? Like,
Well, take a look at what's been going on for the last 15 years. There have been scientists, there have been astronomers, there have been people of great fortitude in government who have just disappeared, who have died
died or disappeared.
of reasons that were not natural. I mean, too many of these people died in plane crashes. Too many of these people died of gunshots at their front door. Too many of these people died of being on a bicycle and being run down by an 18-wheeler in the middle of Panama City.
And I've heard there's a few hundred of them that actually ran away and are hiding in a special place somewhere that, I don't know, some crazy place.
I mean, for
The
years,
Philippines or something.
I maintained being hid out myself because of
That's
what
right.
I was into.
Yeah, maybe explain the fact that you've been attacked and been hiding and had to run and...
I mean, I spent
Have you-
the last 15 years of my life living underground in shelters, in and out, because I was constantly being attacked. The last 8 years have been extreme in the fact that I was being radio frequency attacked by what had been done to me while I was working. I didn't realize that the RF burns that I had received were resonant to the frequencies that they were using.
Good.
So the intern was, for a while, they had control of me. Every time I opened my mouth, they could lay me down. They could make my heart stop.
Do you still have that kind of attacks against you, or did you find a way to escape of it?
I had no way to escape it before. But when they shut the HARP down on May 18th, which is during the period of time we were doing recording for a program for this guy, Joe Rogan, who turned on us, who turned us all into his joke. During that filming, there was information being passed that was cut out of all the filming.
Yeah, Joe Rogan just cut up Roseanne Barr too.
I mean, it wasn't just me. I mean, I did hours upon hours upon hours.
Scott Stevens, he cut up Scott Stevens. He cut you guys all up and made a mockery out of it.
Yet at the same time, I'm the only one that he didn't come back and shut down. He shut down everybody else on that program. One of the perspectives that happens with these chemical springs is that it is a process of ionization. And in order for ionization to take place, you have to be able to charge up a mass of clouds. And one of the things that's being used for charging up these clouds are these new wind forms, these massive wind forms, and also the Schumann effects within the Earth itself. all storms are of a electrical capability. They're the most massive electrical generators in the world are storms. And that helps charge up these massive components of these chemically induced atmosphere. By charging up these and ionizing portions of this atmosphere, they're able to use specific points as a independent tool for things like dual phased radar, weather radar, which is nothing more than a pulse of a specific frequency, but it's a pulse that they work with. It's the width, the length of that pulse, and the duration between pulses that they utilize in digitizing components. And within all weather radar, the new dual-phase digital radar systems, you have this principle there that shoots through these masses of ionized clouds that are being charged up by wind farms. Therefore, you have a tooling effect